stake is the future of the world, and nothing could imperil our common future more than the arming of Iran with nuclear weapons.
My interest is to make sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons.
End your pursuit of nuclear weapons. Stop testing and proliferating ballistic missiles.
Iran's nuclear program has been a focal point of global politics for decades. To understand the present, we need to start with a bit of history. Iran's nuclear program began in the 1950s with the help of the United States under the Atoms for Peace program. The Shah of Iran was eager to modernize the country, and nuclear technology was seen as a symbol of progress. In the 1980s and 1990s, Iran's nuclear program continued, but with increasing secrecy. The discovery of undeclared nuclear facilities in Natanz and Arak in the early 2000s raised alarms worldwide. Iran is a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, which aims to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. Under the NPT, Iran has the right to develop nuclear energy for peaceful purposes but must adhere to strict regulations to ensure it doesn't develop nuclear weapons. Sanctions were imposed on Iran by the UN, the US, and the EU, crippling its economy. But in 2015, a breakthrough was achieved: the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, commonly known as the Iran Nuclear Deal. The JCPOA was a landmark agreement between Iran and the P5+1 group, the US, UK, France, Russia, China, and Germany. Iran agreed to limit its nuclear activities and allow comprehensive inspections in return for relief from sanctions. The deal was hailed as a major diplomatic success, but it has faced significant challenges. In 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew the US from the agreement, reimposing sanctions on Iran. Today, the situation remains tense. The Biden administration has expressed interest in rejoining the JCPOA, but negotiations have been difficult. Iran insists on the lifting of all sanctions, while the US and its allies want assurances that Iran will fully comply with the deal. Iran insists that its nuclear program is purely for peaceful purposes, like energy production and medical research. However, many countries are skeptical due to Iran's past secrecy and the potential for breakout capability, which means the ability to quickly produce a nuclear weapon if it decides to do so. The Middle East is already a volatile region. If Iran were to develop nuclear weapons, it could spark a regional arms race, with countries like Saudi Arabia seeking their own nuclear capabilities. Iran feels the need to have a nuclear deterrent, especially considering that Israel, its regional rival, already possesses nuclear weapons. The NPT is a cornerstone of global non-proliferation efforts. If Iran is perceived to be violating the treaty, it could undermine the entire framework and encourage other countries to pursue nuclear weapons. Sanctions have been a key tool for the international community to pressure Iran. However, they also have significant humanitarian impacts on the Iranian population and can entrench anti-Western sentiments. The memory of the Iraq War and the false claims about weapons of mass destruction used to justify it still linger. There are concerns that similar tactics could be used against Iran to justify aggressive actions. This raises questions about the motives of nuclear powers in their treatment of Iran.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
While there are significant challenges, diplomacy remains the best path forward. A renewed JCPOA or a similar agreement could provide a framework for ensuring Iran's nuclear program remains peaceful. It's also important to note the irony in the current situation. The United States, the only country to have used nuclear weapons against civilians during World War II, now leads efforts to restrict Iran's nuclear program. Iran argues that its nuclear ambitions are primarily for deterrence, a strategy to ensure its security in a hostile region.